The recent UFC Fight Night in Abu Dhabi showcased four of the best bantamweights in the world. We saw former flyweight champ Davidson Figueiredo defeat Marlon Chito Vera, and we also saw Umar Nurmagomedov further prove himself in a win over former number 2 fighter Corey Sandhagen. There's also UFC Noche 306 coming up, where we will see Sean O'Malley put his bantamweight title on the line up against the challenger Merab Dvalishvili. There's a lot going on, but first we should go into what went down in Abu Dhabi and what those fighters could have coming for them next. First off, we have Chito Vera, coming right off of a decision loss to Figueiredo, of course, getting handled on the ground and even getting knocked down for the first time in his career by right hand in the third round. For me, he won the second round, but Figgy just outclassed him in the end, and there really was not anything that Chito could have done about it. I'm not really sure what is next for him, to be honest. Of course, he fought O'Malley for the title at UFC 299. But the only reason that he was given the shot was because he was able to beat O'Malley after he struck a nerve in his foot in their first matchup before Sean was champ. He's lost 3 of his last 4 fights to worthy opponents nonetheless, but he just does not have what it takes to be at the top. Honestly, I think it would be fun to see him face off against Song Yadong again, especially after how their first fight went.
Judges score this contest 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Song Yadong.
I'm here with the winner.
No, fuck that.
Song Yadong. Song
Yadong is also coming off of a loss courtesy of Petr Yan, so both of these fighters are going to be hungry for another win. Then there was his opponent Davidson Figueiredo. He did a wonderful job in Abu Dhabi showing the world that he has what it takes to be a contender in the division, and honestly, I'm not surprised. He has nothing left to prove. He was able to handle Chito fairly easily, and I think that he should be definitely in line for the title shot. Honestly, I want to see the loser of UFC 306 get thrown at him, but there's also Petr Yan right there at number 3 who needs another fight scheduled. I think that Yan versus Chito would have been a good fight to make before they made Chito fight Figgy, but now Chito is just out of the question for Yan. I think that Yan versus Cejudo could also be another fight to make, but as far as I know, Yan just does not want that fight, and he wants something a little bit higher in the rankings that can get him another title shot, so Figgy versus Yan makes sense. Putting them on a main event to see who gets the title fight after Umar Nurmagomedov is just what makes sense for me in the near future. Alrighty, next up we have Corey Sandhagen. I think that a lot of us are rooting for Sandhagen, but he was just put up against one of the best all-around fighters in the sport, and he couldn't get anything going. He was so close to the title shot, but it just slipped right through his hands. I think that him up against Sean O'Malley in the future would be an amazing stylistic matchup, but he needs some help to get himself back up there. In the near future, I think there's really only one fight that makes sense, and that is Henry Cejudo. Cejudo is coming off of a loss to Merab, but he has still gotten his fair share of UFC gold, and I think if Sandhagen could pull off a win against Cejudo, it could propel him back in a pretty good spot. And if the cards fall right with the rest of the division, it could boost him back to the top of the rankings, but first he needs a good win, and that good win is Cejudo. Now we have the winner of the main event, Umar Nurmagomedov. I don't think that anyone was really surprised with how the fight went down, and I don't think that anyone is expecting anything other than for Umar to get the title shot next. He will be a tough opponent for either Merab or Sean. He's just next in line of the Dagestani and Nurmagomedov stars, and I think that he could easily become champion soon. He's still very young at 28, and he just needs one more win to get UFC gold. Even if something happens at UFC 306, whether it is, God forbid, a training camp injury or even a draw, I think that Umar will still rightly deserve the next shot, and I think that he could and should just sit out and wait. Really, the only question going up into his fight against Corey was whether or not he would have what it takes to go all 5 rounds against a seasoned fighter, but he showed us that he is more than capable of it and that he lacks any major gaps in his fighting. He can grapple, he can strike, he can do everything, and he's just straight up scary. Now we can look forward to the big fight booked, O'Malley versus Dvalishvili. This fight will be really good, and I can honestly see it going either way. I want to take Merab in this fight, but honestly, I'm going to take it as another O'Malley successful defense. I think that O'Malley versus Umar will also be a really good fight for matchmakers, but I think that if O'Malley can just do what he has been doing, and if he can stick to his game plan, then he can take the win and beat Merab. But I will get more into that in depth in another video soon before the fight. So pretty much Abu Dhabi just gave us a really clear view of what the bantamweight division will look like. it was able to make one clear number one contender, and it also set up others to take their place next in line. But looking forward, anything can happen, and this division is stacked, so we'll see what happens in the future. Thanks to all of y'all who made it to the end of this video. This is a brand new channel, of course, and I would love to grow it with all of you guys' help. Hope to see y'all checking in on our next one.